Hello, listeners. Welcome to Financial Autonomy for Women, the podcast. My name is Maureen Paley. I'm your host for this podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm a life, career, and financial coach working with women, couples, and anyone that's received the gendered conditioning that comes with being assigned the female sex at birth. In this episode, it's the holiday season, and I'm here to help you set financial boundaries. The title of this episode is "'Tis the Season: How to Set Financial Boundaries That You'll Actually Stick With This Holiday." So here's the thing about boundaries. It's one thing to set them. We've actually got to stick with them. So there's two parts to this equation. So diving right in, I want to talk a little bit about what boundaries are. I mean, ask yourself this question. What comes up when you think of the word boundaries, when you think of setting boundaries in your life? I know what comes up for me is saying a lot of no. I love the phrase, no is a complete sentence, full stop. You don't have to explain yourself when you say no. You don't have to apologize when you say no, so on and so forth. So that's usually what comes up for me when I think about boundaries. But I want to open this up a little bit, right? Because what do we do when we say no? We're actually limiting something. And in some areas of our lives, I would argue in all areas of our lives, we do need limits. We can't let people drain our time, our energy, and our money, because that will get us into a place where we're feeling anxious and overwhelmed and a lack of ease. What we're hoping to do when we set these limits around our time, our energy, our money, we're hoping to protect something vital for ourselves. That's what boundaries really are. They're these limits, these guardrails, these ending points where we say, no, no more. I'm not going past this level because I know if I go past this marker here, I'm going to be drained. I'm going to be overwhelmed. It's going to be something that's going to not be beneficial for me. So, in the spirit of financial autonomy for women, which is all about choice, we get to choose where those guardrails are actually set. We get to choose the ending points, the limits that are going to protect our time, our energy, our money. So, with the holiday season here, as we all know, we tend to spend more this holiday season. No matter what type of holiday that you celebrate, you don't even have to celebrate a holiday to spend money around this time of year. We're going to be bombarded with sales, with offers, with deals, with specials that we might grab in the moment because we're worried. It's all about FOMO, right? We're worried that we're going to miss out on this deal, on this reduced price. Well, I can get this TV for this price. I haven't seen it at this price any time of year. Here's the thing. In this episode, I am not going to tell you not to capitalize on those deals. That's not what we're going to do here. What we're going to do is we're going to get clear on how many deals we're actually going to go for. We don't have to go for all the deals. If we go for all the deals, we don't have those healthy limits and guardrails around our money. And that would be draining for us. That might create a January 2024 where we're really feeling the pain. So let's get to boundaries. First of all, how can you set boundaries in a way that you'll actually stick to them? I'm going to actually start there. This is a powerful question. Again, it's one thing to say, I know I need to stop this, limit this, so on and so forth. But it's another thing to do it and stick to it. Here's what I've observed in working with the women that I support and in myself as well. Get in touch with your why. Let me say that again. If you want to actually stick to your boundaries, get in touch with your why. Why are you setting this boundary anyway? Why do you not want to go overboard with spending, with draining your time, your energy, your money this holiday season? Why is that something that you want to do? When we get in touch with our why, what we're really doing is we're getting in touch with our true selves. So if my why is, I don't want to run up my credit card bills again this year, what that tells me as a financial coach, someone who does a lot of listening and a lot of asking questions of clients, That tells me, number one, hmm, this person is not up for carrying debt anymore. This person feels burdened by their debts. This person wants lightness and freedom and comfort. That's your why. I want the lightness, the freedom, and the comfort to not be paying down my credit card bill come January 2024 and the months thereafter, depending on how quickly I pay that bill off. That's just one example. So, what it will tell me is the things that I value, my why is what I really want to establish in my life. Take some time. You can do it now. You can press pause. You can do it when you have quiet moment to yourself. And I hope you are definitely taking those quiet moments to yourself this holiday season. Get in touch with your why. Maybe it's not so much about protecting yourself on debt. Maybe it's, I really want to start investing in a big way in 2024. So I know that I don't want to break the bank in 2023 around the holiday season so that I have money to put that into action in 2024. And why do I want to invest? Because I want to build wealth for myself and my family. And why do I want to build wealth for myself and my family? Because it allows us freedom, it allows us options, it allows us stability, it allows us security. So these are the things we want to ask this question: what's my why? And then we want to dig deeper into the first response, right? If the first response is, well, my why is I don't want to go into credit card debt, then I'm going to come back to you and say, why not? Well, I don't want to have to pay those bills every month. And I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to say, why don't you want those bills any month? Well, it's uncomfortable. It's stressful. It's uncomfortable. And then I'm going to come back to you and ask, what is it about protecting yourself from stress and discomfort that drives you towards this goal? Well, I feel better when I'm not stressed. I feel better when I'm not feeling discomfort. So, sounds to me like your why, what you value is a feeling of peace and a feeling of comfort. And that shows up in how we manage our money. So, first things first, in order to create a boundary that you're going to stick to, you've got to get in touch with that why inside you. Think about it, give yourself quiet time to process it. You can journal it if you want. You can talk about it with a friend if you want. I'm not really concerned about how you get in touch with your why, but that you do get in touch with it. And it's going to take probing beneath the surface level answer. It's going to take reflection. It's going to take some depth. And the way that we do that is we're honest with ourselves and we ask ourselves good questions. And if you're saying, I can't come up with good questions, all you have to do is ask yourself, why? Again and again and again. And you're going to get to the heart of this is my why. When it lands inside you, and when I say when it lands inside you, I mean in a maybe in a spiritual sense, in a psychological sense, in an intuitive sense. You can feel it in your body when you tap into the why that's driving you towards change. When it hits that mark inside you, that's it. You will know your why, and that's going to help you actually stick to the boundaries. So, first things first, understand your why. Second thing, you've got to get clear on the boundary that you want to set. So, boundaries can look a lot of different ways around the holidays. What I suggest is in getting clear, because this is financial, one fantastic thing to do is to pick a dollar amount and use that as a limit for yourself. So, here's how this could look: pick a dollar amount for the Christmas dinner or the Kwanzaa dinner or the Hanukkah meals that you're going to have with your friends and family. Pick a dollar amount for that expense, the food and the beverages and all the goodies that you're going to buy for those, and stick to that. That's a way to create a ceiling, a threshold. And because we're already tapped into our why, we're going to limit ourselves and we're going to stick to it. So you've got your meals, you've got your gift giving, and let's also put some guardrails and some limits around spending on ourselves. I don't know about you, but some of these deals are so good, it's hard to pass up doing a little shopping for myself, right? I've seen things marked down far lower than they have been for the previous months of the year. Maybe there's something I've had my eye on. I want to allow myself that. Please do allow yourself that. Just because we set boundaries, especially around the holiday season, just because we're putting limits doesn't mean we're saying no to everything. Doesn't mean that we're depriving ourselves. Doesn't mean that we are completely wiping out any type of pleasure. If we know that if we do that, that's just going to fail, right? So we are in the interest of building success for ourselves. And that demands that we sit and we reflect about what are these dollar value limits for my holiday celebrations, for any type of gift giving that I'm doing, and for any type of spending I'm doing on myself. What is that dollar value limit that will protect me, right? A boundary is about protecting myself. That will protect me from going too far into a place, into a spending number that's going to leave me feeling overwhelmed, anxious. That's what we want to protect ourselves from. For some of us, this is going to be hundreds of dollars. For others, it's going to be thousands. You get to choose that limit for yourself. We're not looking to say $0 limit. We're not looking to wipe out spending, wipe out gift giving. You might, with certain people, however, say, hey, I did this with my siblings a few years back. I said, I don't want anything. You don't want anything. Why are we buying each other gifts? Right? You can have those conversations with people. So, number one is get clear on your why. Number two, set dollar value limits. The thing about setting the dollar value limits for the celebrations, for the gift giving, and for the personal spending, you're going to need to track your progress in staying under that limit, staying within those guardrails, right? So this means you do need to track your spending. This is a fantastic exercise. Let me tell you why. This is the gift that keeps on giving. If you track your holiday spending, so you stay within those guardrails, you are going to start developing a habit whereby in 2024 and beyond, you can set boundaries, track your spending, and then you can reorganize your finances and put your money to work in ways that support your whys like never before. One of the main keys to successful money management, we're talking cash flow management, money coming in, money going out, is knowing where the money is going. This is exactly why I developed a mini course where you can get right to that clarity of knowing where the money is going, of tracking the money. When we track the money, we inevitably, it's completely natural, we start to gain insights about our behaviors, about our true wants, our true needs, about our why. Those insights will help shape your decisions so that they are decisions that you feel good about, that feel intentional, that feel grounded, rather than feeling like the money is controlling you. We are in control of the money. That's the essence of financial autonomy, the choice, the agency, the control. I'm in control of the money. I get to decide these guardrails that I stay in. And when I decide these guardrails, these limits, these dollar amounts, I've got to track so that I make sure that I'm achieving what I set out to achieve. Cool thing is about tracking, when you nail it, when you stay within those guardrails and you set yourself up for ease and comfort and peace of mind, you get to celebrate that. You did that. That's an empowerment piece that is also the gift that keeps on giving. The empowerment that you feel when you consciously tap into your why, you set healthy guardrails for yourself, you track your ability to stay within those guardrails, and then you nail it. That is something you get to claim all for yourself. You're going to feel like a total boss when you do that at the end of December. So we talked about the why. We talked about setting the dollar value. We talked about tracking. Now let's also talk about being clear about our boundaries with others. That's the thing. We are sisters, daughters, mothers, friends, cousins, employees, so on and so forth. We do not exist in a vacuum. We have communities and families of origin and chosen families that we are a part of. So how are we going to clearly communicate our boundaries with other people? This could be where it gets tricky, right? I know that anytime I need to communicate a boundary with somebody else, it's a source of anxiety for me. I don't like having awkward conversations. I don't like confrontation. And what I've learned over time is when I do the exploring of the why and really tap into why this is so important to me, it doesn't matter how awkward that conversation is anymore because I'm so firmly grounded in what I need to say. And I know that this why is going to be beneficial for me. I can still communicate what I need to communicate with kindness. I can still communicate what I need to communicate with clarity. I'm not going to become some type of Debbie Downer about this. This is about communicating clearly with the people in my life what I can and cannot do because I've tapped into my why, the benefits that I'm seeking long term that this can offer me. So let's talk about clearly communicating with the other people in our lives. Always a good thing to start with I statements. We might be holding some type of resentment, upset, frustration with the other people in our lives, maybe that we share finances with. And we might want to say, you can't ask me to do that anymore. When we start with a you like that, that's a sign of attack for the other person. And what happens is the conversation and the potential success of the conversation tends to get injured. We want to be in a place with our speech where we're speaking from a place of self-knowledge, empowerment, and personal choice and agency. So that means I start my comments, my communicating with I. So this might sound something like, I really need to give gifts in a way this year that helps set me up for success in 2024 in January. And I've thought a lot about that. And this is how I need to approach gift giving this year. That's how you might want to start a conversation with friends or family about maybe traditions around gift giving that you've had in the past. I really need to feel good about gift giving this year. And in previous years, I've noticed I haven't felt so good, especially when January comes around. And I really want to change that. So, how can we work together to figure out a way to keep our gift giving going in a way that feels good for both of us? That right there, that sounds like compromise. Now, can you do that with everybody? No, you can't. I know that some relationships have certain type of feelings and histories attached to them and contexts where it feels like that is impossible. That's okay. This brings me to another point. When you're setting these boundaries, when you are communicating clearly with other people, there is no failure. Let's take a look at this as we're running experiments. I'm going to run this experiment of clearly communicating my boundaries to my siblings around what I can and can't do this holiday season in regards to spending. I'm just running an experiment. I'm going to try. I'm going to run the experiment. I'm going to collect the data, and then I'm going to look at the data and see how. That way, we're not setting ourselves up for some type of it's either total success or it's total failure. We've got to come back to running experiments. So we start with I statements when we're communicating our boundaries clearly. And because we've done the work of tapping into our why, getting grounded in our why is going to help us reduce the anxiety and that overwhelming awkwardness that comes with having challenging conversations because I know it's something I'm really invested in. I know it's something that really matters to me, and it's something that's really going to help my life and the people in my life. So we use our I statements. We call to mind our why. Maybe even we communicate our why to people. Certain people in our lives are safe people to communicate that to. You know, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to create a lot more comfort and peace of mind for myself in the next year. I've got goals that I want to work on, and I really want to set myself up for starting on a strong footing come January. If I heard that from someone else, I honestly, I would be so excited. I'd be like, whoa, you're working on really cool stuff. And maybe that's just me, but when we explain, and again, there's a time and a place to explain ourselves. We don't always have to explain ourselves. But when we share why we're doing this, why we're taking this step, why we need this, for certain people in our lives, it's going to land for them in a way where they say, oh, yeah, I totally get it. And I think you'd be surprised how many people in your life are ready to hear that and ready to say, oh, yeah, I get it. Way to go. Sometimes we underestimate how much the people in our lives care about us and are willing to cheer us on. even if it means that we step away from tradition or old behaviors or old habits around this time of year. So when we use our I statements and when we really get grounded in the why we need to communicate, it's a lot friendlier to have these conversations with the people in our lives. Now, let's talk about setting financial boundaries with children. This is going to depend on a lot of things. It all depends on how old your kids are, how much they already know about financial management, maybe the type of expectations that they have around this time of year, what their friends are getting on the holidays, and what's going on in school, and so on and so forth. So, a lot of this is going to depend on a lot of things. And I want to let you know right up front that I do not have children of my own. What I want to bring to you now is the things that I learned in grad school when understanding strong points about how to work with youth. So while I'm not a parent, I am an auntie and I love kids and I've worked with kids in the education system, in the social work system. I want to share the knowledge that I discovered in practice that really helped me engage with those kids in a positive way. Again, parenting is different from being a teacher or a social worker, different roles. And I think that there are some things we can take from those disciplines that will help us in having parenting conversations around financial boundaries with kids in the household. One thing I want to emphasize is children know when they're being taken seriously. One thing that we might want to do is remind ourselves that they are beings with thoughts and feelings and insecurities and talents and potential, just like us, right? So let's talk a little bit about how we can set financial boundaries for children. We don't have to do it in a punitive way. We don't have to share too much information with the young folks in our lives before they can really digest it, understand it. We don't have to put undue pressure on them. And understandably, a lot of the energy that parents put into parenting is about protecting their kids from things that kids don't need to worry about, right? It's like, This is my kid. That my kid doesn't need to worry about my credit card bills and they don't need to carry that burden." And that's definitely not what we're asking to do here. You might want to use this holiday season as an opportunity to connect with the child in your household, the children in your household, in a way that enlists them in managing money around this time of year. So again, this all depends on age and readiness the children might have. But one thing that I learned in grad school and in education is children love being helpers. So if there is a way to enlist your kids as helpers, "Hey, I'm wondering if you can help me something. Would you be my helper? I've got to figure out which gifts to buy and to give. And this is how much money I have to do it. So what do you think? What do you think that Uncle John might like from these items?" We can create a way to engage them around the financial decisions in the holiday. Again, that doesn't mean the kids carry the burden. That doesn't mean that kids worry about the bills and the finances. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to invite them, we're trying to enlist them as helpers, something that kids love to do. They love to step up and to help when we ask them to be helpers and we ask them to have a responsibility for something and accountability. It's like, okay, hey, this is your job this year. I need your help as my helper to help me figure out where the money goes this year if we're going to buy gifts for these family members. So children get the opportunity to practice how to make financial decisions given limits, given a budget. So, if you enlist your kids as helpers in the financial decisions for maybe other family members or neighbors or friends, or the financial decisions about what to shop for the meal, the celebration, the party, so on and so forth, you've invited them to help you make those decisions. And then you may be able to talk with them about the decisions that you're making to buy gifts for them or the decision that Santa Claus needs to make to make sure that every child has enough. Every child gets what they want for Christmas. So by enlisting kids as a helper for the financial decisions that you need to make around the holiday season, this could be an entry point to having a conversation around how gift giving happens. Now, I know when kids are younger, they might believe in Santa Claus or some type of magic that brings gifts and so on and so forth. And that's fine if they do. You may not be able to have this conversation with those kids. But if kids are in a place where they are old enough to understand that there are certain things that are limited and gift giving is something we do, right? Rather than magic that happens at the end of the year, you may be able to invite them into a conversation around, we really want to help each other have a great holiday season. What is it that means the most to you this holiday season? You get a little taste of their why. So the things that mean the most for them, the things that are of value to them, that's really important. That can help you not just buy the right gifts for the kids, but also create experiences in the holiday season that are far more lasting and far more grounding and arguably important than a gift, a toy, what have you. So enlist your kids in the holiday decision making, in the holiday budgeting. Do it in a way that's not so much pressure. Make it fun, make it a game. Encourage them and celebrate them helping you. Thank them for being good helpers. Kids love to be helpers. They love to have ownership over something. They love to be taken seriously, and they love to be approached with curiosity about what it was like for them to make those decisions, what it was like for them to have ownership over this thing, and what did they think about the experience, so on and so forth. When we explore with our kids, they're much more engaged and they experience an empowerment as well. So that's one way you can start to engage kids around finances. Now, here's the thing. If you need to set some hard boundaries with your budget, listen to that. And if it's around spending on the kids, listen to that. Remember, if you're in touch with your why, kids are resilient. There are other ways to engage children other than gifts. I know that they're all like, they can't even sleep on Christmas Eve and they're waking up the next morning expecting a big, grand show. Let's keep in mind that there are other ways to engage children outside of the gifts, outside of the Christmas morning extravaganza. And by engaging them during the holiday season to create a holiday experience outside of themselves, that's going to help enrich their experience of the holidays and what it means to participate within the family, within the home, within the community. So if you know you need to draw firm limits around gift giving for kids on the holidays, do it. It's okay. We can do it in ways, again, that preserve ourselves, that protect ourselves, especially when we're connected to our why. The why of, I know that I don't need to go overboard this holiday season because I'm protecting myself and my energy for 2024. And when you protect yourself and your energy for 2024, you're setting yourself up to be the best parent that you can be. It's actually about protecting who you are, not just as an individual, but for all the roles that you play out in the world that are all equally important. Here's some other ideas about how to set financial boundaries with kids this holiday season. I know someone who, when she was a mom to young kids, she talked to her kids openly every year. It was a standing truth for the family. Santa Claus brings 5 gifts at Christmas. And she stuck to 5 gifts at Christmas every year. And her kids were just fine. So that's another way you can do it. You can tell the story. You can still be part of the story and the magic and so on and so forth. You can build this up and you can say, hey, Santa Claus brings 5 really good gifts, like the best 5 gifts he's got on Christmas morning. Here's the thing about kids. They are social beings. There are even social pressures when we're kids. And, if you do have children, you probably feel this. It's like, oh, this person at school got this person at school got that. Everybody's rushing out for that it gift this holiday season. Those gifts, those like Tickle Me Elmos and the gaming systems and whatever it is that changes year to year that people are going after. That type of pressure when your kids are looking to participate in that high demand, in that thrill seeking really around the holiday season, that can be tough. So remember, you've got to protect your energy. You've got to protect your why. And you can do it in a way where, depending on the child's age, depending on the maturity level, maybe you can be honest with them. It's okay to allow the kids to be excited about these things. And if we know that it's really not, and it's okay to let kids be disappointed when they don't get it. So we want to remember that children are resilient, they can recover from disappointment, and we can have conversations with them and engage them in a way that takes the focus off of gifts, the importance of gifts and the importance of getting things, so that Christmas is a different experience other than just getting stuff. So we talked about a lot of great things in this episode. The secrets to setting boundaries and actually sticking to them, right? We've got to get in touch with our why. We've got to get clear on our dollar value limits. We've got to track the money so that we know we are sticking to those dollar value limits. We need to treat this as running experiments. We're going to need to step into some uncomfortable conversations, and we learn ways to be clear and to still set boundaries in our communication. We need to use our I statements, and we need to get back and grounded into that why. We also talked about some great ways to set financial boundaries with kids this holiday season. And if you're looking for more resources and tools to set financial boundaries this holiday season so that you have the comfort and the peace of mind come January 2024, check me out on Instagram at Maureen Paley Coach for free tools and resources there to help you stay on track. And as always with your finances, be kind to yourself, seek support when you need it, and let me know how it goes. Take care.